With the power to bring people together or just help us escape the world, gaming is more than just a game. So join me, ziggychris, as I speak to developers, content creators, and gamers like you and me to discover how each of us was saved by gaming. Welcome in everyone to Saved by Gaming. As always, I am ziggychris, and with me today is someone very special because we've got with us today Behaving Beardly, the Twitch streamer who blends chaos, comedy and heart into every broadcast, whether he's rallying his community, pulling off ridiculous in-game antics, or just being his authentically beardly self. One thing's clear, that this guy knows how to turn pixels into pure entertainment. Welcome in, Beardly. How you doing?
Yo, that's my new elevator pitch. I'm putting that on a business card.
You're welcome. You're happy to, you can take it.
No, thank you very much.
I know that you had a moment of trepidation when I spoke to you first time because you're like, I'm not sure if I've been saved by games, but games have definitely impacted my life. So let's start there before we dive into the ethos of community and all that good healing, soothing stuff. Just how much has games had an impact on changing your life? Because that's the phrase you used, it's changed your life.
It's a tough one because after that initial conversation, I started dwelling on this. I started thinking about, even if you go as far back as school, which I'm hitting 40 this year, so it's a little bit of time ago. And I don't think gaming was quite as acceptable then, to be honest, whereas teachers would have seen it as a waste of time. My parents most certainly saw it as a waste of time. But it was how I made those early connections with friends at school, and it was... I remember I used to get in a bit of bother at school because all my stories would always focus on these weird and wonderful universes that I'd experienced through gaming. And that's how, my imagination worked and how I created these stories within them universes. But fast forward to 7-8 years ago, I'd not been involved in the gaming space very much, but I accidentally fell into the world of Sea of Thieves, which is obviously the game that I stream a lot of. Obviously, I had a job at the time. It was an office job. I hated it. I accidentally fell into this fandom before the game even released. I set up like a fan page, met the community, made a lot of my now close friends through that community, and then fell into Twitch streaming and content creation. Been doing that for 7 years, and now I have this experience of pinching myself every day because I've got this job that I absolutely adore that has supported me for the last 7 years. It's like a pinch me. I can't believe I get to do this every day, so it's awesome.
I hear you, and I'm, believe it or not, a few years older than you. I'm 45, so I understand.
No!
Yeah, I know. Thanks. I'll take the compliment. But so I totally get where you're coming from. When I was growing up, games were not... It was like if you spoke to a careers guidance counsellor, for example, about, I want to go into games when they're older. At that point, they were like, what? No. I have no clue what this is about. I would like to say that your community is known for being quite supportive and has a really friendly, good vibe to it. So how do you go about cultivating that? How did you go about cultivating that kind of space on Twitch?
To go down a rabbit hole, it's one of these things where you see a lot within live content, specifically live content communities and stuff, where you've got certain personalities that do harbor a bit of a negative community that will go out there and they will maybe hurl abuse at people and things like that, and their response is always, look, I'm on the internet, it's out of my control, which I don't believe. I believe that you harbor your own community, and I don't want to say it's lead by example, I guess. Certain people will gravitate towards certain ideals and personalities and the way that you conduct yourself online, I guess. It's like a catch-all answer trying to put it into a box, but it's just that you set the examples that you want to, for the community that you want to cultivate, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about finding your tribe, right? So
yeah. I
think, as you say, if you're a cozy streamer and that's your cozy vibe, that's what you bring to it, and hopefully you draw those people to you, but you've got that friendly, energetic vibe, but you still got to cultivate a safe space within it. I'm
trying to think of an example. I've got this big thing where when brand new games launch, and there's this meta culture on social media at the moment where you tear the game down even though you know nothing about it. People will share screenshots of the game on the minimal graphics and be like, look at the state of this game, and try and hammer that negative idea. Or this game's woke is the new one. Whereas when people come into my stream and if they say anything along those lines, I have this thing where I absolutely tear them to pieces. I don't even give them a chance. It's like, here's why you're wrong. Here's why what you're doing is damaging to the games community and developers and publishers who pour their life and soul into making these games. And the rest of the community see that and they're like, yeah, that's not allowed here. So it's cultivating it. And a lot of content creators wouldn't be comfortable in doing that. But, you know, right-click, block, ignore is always an option, and then you don't cultivate that kind of presence in your community, I guess.
Yeah, wise words. I think you've touched on it there a little bit, but so what's your philosophy though on balancing humor and the genuine connection with your audience? Because obviously it's one thing to be, you don't want to become almost a parody of yourself and just be constantly silly. You've got to have those moments of touch points of humanity, right?
It's a weird one. So again, I don't know if this is a bit of a tangent, because I was having a conversation with one of the guys, a guy called Dan. He's lovely. He works for Cancer Research UK, and I love doing work for Cancer Research UK. But he always said to me that one thing that a lot of the creators struggle with is to put that message across, which is a very serious message, but then get back into their usual kind of humor and not let the energy of the stream completely crash and burn after talking about something so kind of negative. I have this thing that when I'm trying to make a serious point, or I'm trying to talk to someone, or kind of anything like that, I keep waffling. And then I have this rule where when I'm running out of things to say, I have in my head a set list of lines that I will fall back on to bring the humor back into it. So when I'm talking about cancer, which is a very dark subject, and I normally encourage people in the chat to talk about their stories, their experiences with cancer and things like that. And then while we're talking, once I start thinking, okay, no, I'm running out of things to say here, I quickly go into one of my fallback lines, which is normally something along the lines of, but that's why we're here today. That's why we're raising money for cancer research. So let's get straight back into it, and then just talk about the game and just completely cut the conversation off and run back into my usual kind of humor, energy, and silliness. So that's related to what you were saying.
No, I get it. You've got to you hit the point, but you don't want to dwell on it. You just want to keep that fun element while still driving home that you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And so, of all the things you can fundraise for that you have done, what is it about cancer? Is there a personal reason that cancer research connects to you?
Not overly personal. I think this is the thing with cancer research. I can sit here and tell sob stories of family members and stuff, but I think that's the thing with cancer, is that it affects every single person. Every single person in the world is affected by cancer, whether you get cancer or someone close to you get cancer. If it hasn't impacted you in your life yet, it will do. And it's a horrible, depressing and scary thought, but I do think it's something that affects every single person. But no, the two things that I always gravitate towards is cancer research and children's hospices and War Child, anything to do with children, because I think children in the world do not deserve any do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no child that deserves any of that. So yeah, anything like that, I'm always happy to support and get involved with.
No, I get that. You're talking to an adoptive dad, so I totally connect on that. And I grew up I've had kidney problems since birth, so I spent a lot of time as a kid in hospital. So I think that's why gaming and movies became a huge part of my life, because obviously when you're just sat around all day not doing much, it's like, this is a world I can get out into the world and I can escape and I can feel like I'm doing things.
It's huge, man. There's a charity that we've done a lot of work with that's more local to us in the UK. They're based over in Manchester. They're called Everyone Can. And that's for children that have disabilities and things, and it creates peripherals and gets them all in so they can play games and connect with a community, because they don't get many opportunities to connect with people and be part of these communities. So just having charities like that pull especially children into the world of gaming and give them the opportunity to make those connections, make those friendships where they wouldn't normally, I think it's just amazing, man.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's whether it's computer games or tabletop games, whatever it is. Like talking to Imran Yusuf recently about Games Therapy UK, they use D&D to help veterans and all sorts of people get to the table and express themselves. And that's all for me. That's what all of this is about. Whether you're watching a streamer and connecting with that community, or whether you're sat at a table with friends, it's all part of the same loop.
Yeah.
So not to be all whimsical about it, but that's just my vibe.
No, it's hard, you say, because I'm sat here just doing my stupid thing, being silly and shouting and screaming at video games and having a laugh. And if you don't mind me quickly sharing a story as well, that completely caught me off guard, because I don't want to be I am amazing or anything. But I was at a convention recently, and someone came over to me and said, "Do you mind speaking to the fellow with the dog over there?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I went over to him, and it was a therapy type dog sort of thing. And he said, he had PTSD basically, and I think he had a mental degenerative disorder or something. And it turned out to me, and he goes, "Your stream saved my life." And I was, wait, what? Is I have chronic PTSD, and he goes, during COVID, I was this close to taking my own life, but just having your stream in your community, and he mentioned like Bearded and Happy Kraken, who are other streamers that I do a lot of work with, and he was like, if it wasn't for you three and your streams, he goes, I wouldn't be here today, so thank you. And he just hugged me. I don't think I've ever cried so much in my life. I was just like, I was, oh, no worries, pal. I'm happy that I can be a distraction for you. And my wife was behind me. I turned around and she went, what's wrong? I was like, oh, my God. But it's crazy, man.
Yeah. No, you've beaten me to the punch on my neck. That was going to be one of my next questions, but whether a viewer has reached out to you. So no, I get it, but that's great. And because I was going to ask about people that have shared stories with you, maybe from your community, but those moments that catch you unexpectedly. I stream, but not to the same level as yourself. But even then, it's amazing when someone just occasionally DMs you in your Discord or something and says your streams have connected with me and just get me through when I'm lonely and all that kind of stuff. And you don't realize the power that those moments have.
No, definitely, man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. It's crazy. No, it's an amazing thing to be a part of, honestly. And I think one thing they have to realize is I'm sat here doing a job that I have to pinch myself every single day and think this is amazing that I get to do this. And so I'm getting, it's not me trying to say that I'm doing this for them and they're saving lives and all that, because I find that a bit cringe to say, to be honest. But I'm getting this out of them as well. For everyone that tunes in and watches the streams and is part of the conversation, part of the energy, they feed into that, and it's equal. Do you know what I mean? I think is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And so do you think on that note, again, this can go all the way back to when you were a kid or just more recent stuff. Do you think there's any ways that gaming have improved your own mental health or kept you going at certain points?
Definitely, I think so. Here comes the sob story again.
It's okay.
No, but when I was a kid, I was brought up in a pretty rough area. Well, it was really rough, and I was the big kid at school. I don't know, so I was always getting into trouble. I was always getting into fights, and I think that was my escape was literally gaming. Like I used to have a Game Boy, and I used to have it in my bag all the time. And I would always take myself into a corner and sit there on my Game Boy. That used to get me in a lot of trouble as well. There you go. Yeah, I've got mine. It's not in here, though. But no, I would literally, my life was pretty much consumed by the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy, my mum's old Atari, the Commodore 64. But I feel like if it wasn't for those distractions and those escapes, like most of the people I grew up around are in prison, like honestly, or in horrible situations. And I think that I'm not saying that gaming got me completely out of that, but having something to focus on out of just going in the streets and picking fights with people and all that was definitely a huge benefit.
Yeah. And for anyone who didn't gather the chuckle, if you're only listening to the audio version of this, I pointed at my Game Boy, which is behind me on the shelf midway through that. I couldn't resist. So what is there on like, let's say a lighter note, I don't know if it's a lighter note, but is there a particular game maybe that's had a profound impact on you, whether it's emotionally or creatively? Is there? I know obviously you've had a massive connection with Sea of Thieves, but
yeah, I mean Sea of Thieves is huge. But again, going back to being a kid and kind of what sparked my imagination, the passion. I think there was a few, but I think probably the first one was Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, on Super Mario World, which I think is a lot of us. But Zelda: A Link to the Past just captivated me when that first came out on the Super Nintendo, and I spent so much time on that. But there's been loads over the years. I think Sea of Thieves is going to be one of those that always seems a bit passive or dismissive. But I know in 10, 20 years' time, a lot of us are going to be looking back at that and being like, that that changed not only gaming, but that changed our lives. Like, people underestimate the power or what Sea of Thieves have pulled off over the last 6-7 years.
Mm. Yeah. Those 90s moments, there's so many 90s games, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, like Zelda was huge at that point. And, but for me, growing up, it was probably GoldenEye was a massive one.
I never, that was N64, wasn't it?
N64. And the reason that vibes with me as well is I was talking to someone about the communal gaming aspect of that, of all sitting around a little tiny CRTV and watching the 4-player split screen and being able to watch where your mate was and work out where he was because you were all looking at the same box.
Yeah.
But there was something fun about all being sat together, and elements of that are missing now because it's all online, which I love online, but it's that all being together.
No, definitely. See, I was when the N64, I was more Dreamcast.
I had a Dreamcast as well.
Yeah. You had all of them.
Told you I was ill at home. They had got to give me something to do.
Yeah. Sitting with my brothers playing games like Power Stone and all them games. It was always amazing, man. But yeah. Halo. God, I could never beat my younger brothers at Halo, though, so we don't talk about that.
Yeah, Halo LAN parties as well. Going back to communal, that was the rage. So for someone listening who's in their own like health bar flashing red moment, what game would you, if you became Dr. Behaving Beardley, games therapist, okay, not serious fun, but what game would you prescribe and why for games medication?
It depends what you thinking, because there's some lovely, cozy games out there that can, I mean, I wouldn't prescribe this. Maybe I'm a little bit of a sadist, but I'm obsessed with Dune Awakening at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the thing with Dune Awakening is it's one of those games that I can absolutely immerse myself in. Like, I sat down yesterday on stream and played that through for 13 hours straight. And it was one of those instances where I looked up at my clock and I was like, no way. That I was like, crap. I started to feel tired about, why am I so tired today? And then realized I've been sat there for 13 hours. So that's one of those games that you could just absolutely lose yourself into. And that has got that grinding element, but the community side of thing and the engagement, the laugh out loud moments, the punch the desk moments, and all of it is obviously Sea of Thieves for me. I would say that I'm a terrible gamer. I play many, many different games, but I get bored of them within like 3, 4, 5 hours. I can be like, this game is incredible, it's amazing, I can see why everyone loves it, but I'm bored now, on to the next. Sea of Thieves has been the only game I've got, I don't know how many thousands of hours I've got, and maybe 8,000 hours, I don't know, which is a huge amount for me because I don't stick to games that long, and I've been playing it ever since it launched. I feel like Dune's going to be like that for me as well, but it's always those open world, sandbox, survival. If there's plenty of other players in there, and you can engage with them and create stories and share stories with random people online and make those connections, then I think it's brilliant. And I think that scares a lot of people. But one thing that I will always say is when you're playing these games that have a strong online multiplayer element, try and get over that fear of using your microphone and engage with other players. Yeah, you're always going to get those idiots out there. But the relationships, the adventures, the ridiculous stories, laugh out loud moments that come from just using a microphone in the multiplayer game are huge, man.
Yeah, I remember back in the day playing World of Warcraft in the early days, and the fear of using TeamSpeak for the first time and deciding whether or not I wanted to venture into that, and the first time just going in to listen, to see if it was safe, to see if it was crazy, but then building some amazing friendships through that little online chat world while you're waiting for the raid to sort itself out. And yeah, it's everything. And so you mentioned, obviously, you've spent so many thousands of hours in Sea of Thieves, and it's taken you to different events and conferences and all sorts of stuff. What about the friendships that you've built through that were virtual maybe and have become real, the people that you then met in the real world? Presumably that's had a massive impact on you as well, in terms of not just building virtual relationships, but building physical, actual, real world relationships.
I can tell you now that in my currently, I'm trying to think, but I don't want to upset anybody, but I think every single real life friend that I have now that I will meet up, either go to events, go for a drink, they'll come around to my house, have a barbecue or anything. Every single one of them I've met online through gaming over the last, since in content creation and stuff. I think it's just one of those, because obviously you've got this shared passion. This goes back to why I say always use your mic, because you've always got the shared passion. You all enjoy the same thing, even if you play the game different ways and you might not agree on certain things. But even when I go to events, I go to most events by myself. My wife has just started coming along with me in the last year or so, because she has nothing. She doesn't game. She's got no interest in Twitch or anything like that. But she started coming and she's seeing how incredible it can be and the kind of community feel. And everybody loves her more than me now, which is great, I guess. But no, I guess I always turn up solo, and people are always nervous about going to these things solo. And I'm like, nah, just do it, man, because you're all there for a shared passion and excitement over this community. So just go for it, and you'll be surprised how welcoming everyone can be. And even in a lot of these games, some people are super try-hard and some people want to spend the day grinding. But when you get there, you all love the same game. You're all there for the same reason.
Yeah, and I think that do it applies to so many things in life as well. It was the same when, even if it's a concert or something, I went to see Audio Slave back in the day. And I remember I could only get one ticket, and I was like, I don't care. I'm just getting the one ticket, and I'm going on my own. It's going to be awesome. And it was one of the best concerts still to this day that I've ever been to, because I didn't have to worry about what everyone else was doing. It was just me. So yeah, just go and do it. Go to these events. Have fun.
I mean, and I guess if anyone's listening that happens to want to get into content creation, it's been my number one piece of advice. Every event I go to by myself, and it means that you're not stuck to a group of people when they go to different things, and you're not glued to a little clique the whole weekend that you're there or anything. And the amount of industry folk and huge creators that I've ended up just chatting to and getting to know over the years, just because I went by myself and could approach people, turned up where I want to, when I want to, and all that thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Where do you see the future of gaming as a force for good?
It's weird, isn't it? Because there's always new and exciting and crazy ways that people are using gaming to connect people, basically. already mentioned, there's such a big movement to get gaming equipment and peripherals into hospitals and things just to connect people to a wider world and a more extended community. It's one of those things, it's just a bursting that bubble kind of tool, isn't it? To get people connected when they probably don't have the options or abilities to connect to other people. It's hard. I see a lot of work being done in the accessibility world, so that's where my brain goes automatically. Because I know a few of the guys that work in the accessibility world for Xbox and things and making sure games. I know the RNIB I helped them out with a huge initiative last year, and it's not just about raising money for the RNIB. What they've done is they've set up a special part of the RNIB, which is they get sightless gamers to come in to do talks with developers. So they bring the developers in to talk to sightless gamers, and the RNIB are organising all that just to make sure that developers are putting these tools into games before the game launches rather than retroactively trying to add them and things like that and create new and creative ways to make the games more accessible to people that are sightless. And there's all sorts of work happening in that field for able gamers and things like that.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it now. I remember being so confused when, even in this modern age, when you load up some games and they haven't even got the option to tweak the subtitles or something.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing to me. Spoken to some accessibility consultants about just having it so that when you turn on the game, the accessibility options are at the start, not hidden behind a tutorial, because very often the tutorial comes up before anything else, and then you're stuck because you can't actually see it or hear it or whatever else it is.
What's happening a lot now is, I opened up the new Gears of War beta that's dropped this weekend, and straight away the first thing you hear is narration on. So it's on by default. You open the game, it's narration on, and you got a little tick box so you can turn it off right at the beginning, and it's, I guess, little touches that, man. Yeah.
Do you have, coming back to, makes me think for a second back to your community, do you ever play games and your community discuss, oh, I can't play this because of XYZ, or I'd love to play this, but this has been a problem? Does that stuff ever feature in chat?
Not as much as it used to be honest. You've made me realise. So a few years ago, especially, so there's Shasters and Sightless Combat. They're two sightless gamers. I've streamed with both of them, and we spent the whole stream just talking about the tools that they use and how they overcome those issues. I've got a good friend called Katie Bear she's got a brain tumor basically, and so any games with motion make her get really bad migraines, can make her pass out and things like that. So obviously she really struggles with Sea of Thieves because the waves of the boats and stuff. And I know the team at Rare, because it's such a core game mechanic, is the ocean, obviously. But they are constantly trying to find a way that they can try and help that without making the game lose that core mechanic sort of thing. But no, it's a conversation that comes up a lot, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah, like that is that's a tricky one because it is the world you're in.
Yeah, I mean, you could just be like, well, just make the boats not move, but then the gunplay, the cannon play, and all that, it just completely takes away that skill barrier and all that thing. Definitely a challenge for them.
Yeah. To lighten the mood, then, what is the most ridiculous thing you've ever done on a stream, and what became, or your most wholesome moment? Even let's go with that one if that is easier.
Just to say that I'm known for being the guy that's loud and a bit ridiculous, I don't think I've done anything too crazy.
No,
I've dyed my beard purple. I put clips in the beard for every subscriber during certain times a year.
That always looks painful. Sorry, when you do that, it's not bad, not too bad.
No, the Christmas one's terrible. Where I put the Christmas decoration, the little Christmas baubles, because they're crocodile clips, and they weigh a ton. Like when I put them all in, I think what's the record? I think I've had 600 in there at once.
Wow. And
the weight of it, like it just pulls on my neck, is killing at the end of the day. I always have a migraine the day after. It's like, God damn it. I know after the stream's finished, I'm going to think of loads and I'm going to be kicking myself. There's been quite a few wholesome. I remember once I think it was Christmas on my birthday, but the whole community secretly went behind the scenes and recorded a huge video for me. Oh. I'm going to stop because I'm getting emotional thinking about it. And it was just a thank you for being Beardly type video where they all recorded a 30-second clip of themselves and they compiled it into one big video, but they got all the kids involved. And so they were, we love watching Beardly and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if this is twice I mentioned this, I don't cry very often. But and I've never cried on stream, but I was sobbing, uncontrollably sobbing watching this video. I was like, I don't think people realize the kind of impact that can have is like, I don't know, it's unfathomable to me that anyone thinks to do that, to go out of the way to get a whole community of people together to record a video and send it that. And yeah, that was just, that absolutely blew me away, honestly. It's always one of those standout moments.
The thing is, that just goes to show the power of community, right? And everything we've discussed so far in terms of you connecting with people without even realizing how much impact it has, and then and it all loops back. So if anything, that just really perfectly sums up the kind of themes that we've been discussing. And you should feel proud of that, because that's really awesome. I would be in absolute buckets as well. I get emotional really easily. I hear that and I'm
I used to think that I wasn't very emotional, but yeah, this last 7 years on doing content creations taught me otherwise.
Yeah. But no, you're in the right place. This is the podcast for emotional connections. So you're in the right place. And so I guess the big question is, you mentioned before you worked in an office or something and it was horrible. What if you weren't gaming now? If you weren't a streamer, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? Would you still be just doing that, do you think?
Well, who knows? So, because before then, I'll try and keep this short. I've always worked in bars, restaurants. I've always worked in marketing and events and things like that. And then the last job I had was working in an office, and I was a career coach, but it was for global CEOs. So I would coach them on how to network, which I feel is something that I've been able to leverage in this industry. I would like to think that I wouldn't still be doing that, because, like I said, that was nearly 8 years ago. The situation that came up was that we had our little boy. My wife took paternity, obviously. Then I got the option to take she took maternity. I got an opportunity to take a year's paternity, obviously unpaid. But and that's when I fell into this world of CFEs by pure coincidence. It just happened to, the stars aligned. And so I fell into content creation, live streaming, because someone just suggested it, because I used to do little videos for CFEs and people, your personality would be hilarious to be live and stuff like that. So I went live, and then the wife said to me, if you can make this work within a year, then don't go back to your job, because I can see how happy it makes you. But then by the time that year came to an end, it wasn't really working, but it felt like it might be getting there. And she just turned around and went, do you know what, sod it, I can see how happy you are. Keep going, and we'll just see what happens. But now that I'm in this world, even if my channel falls apart tomorrow, which it does happen, and I fully expect it to happen at some point, I've made that many friends and connections within this industry, whether it's agencies, studios, developers, and all that thing. I'll never leave this world. You know, if I just fall back into marketing again, it'll be working for a studio, it'll be working for an agency, it'll be something like that. But I've found my home, and you would have to drag me away from it kicking and screaming.
You know what that tells me, Beardley? Do you know what that tells me?
Uh-oh.
It tells me that you've been saved by gaming. That's what it tells me.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. See, we did it. We got there.
We got there.
Never thought you'd get there, but we've just found the key.
Hey.
Yeah. It's all come together. I'm happy now. Awesome. Was there any other aspects before we kind of round out today, in terms of whether it's fundraising or anything else you want to touch on?
I guess on about meeting people and making connections. I mean, I know you've lurked around and stuff. I don't know if you've seen the bromance that me and Beardageddon have. So he's another content creator, he's a CFE's content creator. But obviously, me behaving Beardley, him being Beardageddon, they became this big meme. The first time I met him, I was scared stupid. Because basically, I got invited to go do a panel at a Comic-Con, Norfolk Comic-Con, for CFEs. And I felt a little bit bad, because I'm one of the newer creators, and you've got people like Beardageddon out there who have been there since day one, and he's so much bigger than me. So I thought, maybe you should invite him, and then, how about both of you come? All right. But I was a bit apprehensive, because me and him had never spoken to each other. And I was behaving Beardley, he was Beardageddon, we played the same game. I'd started later than him. I'm like, this guy probably thinks I'm just trying to copy him. But I swear to God, within the first 5 minutes of meeting each other, it was instant bromance. It was crazy. In fact, hang on, I got to take my headphones out for this. But there he is. There's Beardageddon.
If you're on the audio version,
headphones back in.
How do you want to describe that for any audio listeners?
Yeah, I'm currently holding a plushie, a pirate plushie, or teddy, depending on where you are globally, and it's got my friend Beardageddon's face printed on the face of it. He's got one too. He keeps it on him, behind him on streams at all time. But I love that man so very, very much. There's very few people who you meet that, because I've got this thing where nothing else matters more to me than my wife and my kid. And as a male in this space, it's very rare to find someone that's on that same wavelength. And when I first met him, and he was there with his wife and his little boy, who's a similar age to my little boy, and just see how much he doted on them. And then we've had conversations where we've both had a few beers and just talking about how incredible our wives are. And to be a dude in this space and find another dude that is unknown, because most dudes in this space are just egos, to be honest. So it was just really nice to find my man.
Wow. I feel like I'm cheating on him now. That's not, it's not good. All right, then. One last question that I know I always ask everyone, and you've mentioned some great names already, but whose Saved by Gaming story would you like to hear if you had to pick someone else to give us their saved story?
Yeah, so Beard Again's a good one, but let me think on this one. There's a girl who I know called Micromads, who is absolutely incredible, Australian content creator that now lives in Rotterdam, because she decided that she just wanted to get away from her past life, go travel the world. No spoilers, but she's got, if you do want to get her on here, because she'd be amazing. Yeah, she's just high on life right now and doing so well. And it would be really cool to hear her full story and how that laid out there.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
All right, everyone. I think we've covered all the bases, and we discovered that even though he didn't realize it at first, that Beardley has indeed been saved by gaming. So all comes back around. It's like one giant frisbee. I don't know. Boomerang.
There you go.
There we go. That makes it work much better. So thank you very much for being with me today, Beardley.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
And just remember, everyone out there, take it easy, and always remember to hit save. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. This show was brought to you by me, ziggychris. So thanks very much for listening. You know how to do podcast things by now, so if you liked this, push the button, tell your friends, do all that jazz, and we'll see you next time. Take care.